Bingi, Okavango, Rasdada, Yaga, Chuck Fender, the Living Fire represent to the fullest. See? Perfect balance. Don't know so. Tread class. Living Fire represent. Keep the fire burning out. What Emmanuel I Celestia Jack. Keep it like right. This is it.
Trample this movement according to how them a preach and a gather the people them. Them time they when politics meeting in the street. Nobody know their politics meeting if Rasta they preach. You did have strand theater them time there. Nobody know in the theater if Rasta they preach. Church empty. Some sharp square packed with people listening to the Rasta doctrine of the biblical interpretation of the Christ who returned. So them say you have to destroy the movements, cause if them tell the people them a morning say burn down the city, the people them will burn it down. So them did under fear of the Rastafari doctrine where they gather the people them both from politics, from church, from school.
We approach April, and you know a lot of people in many parts of the world look towards April and Good Friday as something which them celebrate as part of their tradition, and them look forward towards that period based on what Christians do, based on the Christian calendar, whether them are Orthodox or whether them are Catholic or Anglican. As Rastafari, we cite that April round about the same time as Bad Friday because of the experience that Rastafari had based on the Coral Garden incident. Can you tell us about the Rastafari community within that time and how they responded to the violence that went on in a Coral Gardens?
Yeah, give thanks. It's a very complex situation. But within I knowledge and I experience as youth growing up, and it's like it was to massacre the Rastafari movement. So even when we use the terms Coral Garden incident, it's a twofold manifestation, you know. The Coral Garden incident and the crucifixion of Rastafari saints. So the Coral Garden incident now would have begun with certain individual people out at the place of the community we call Coral Garden. But the incident they now caused from certain brethren now where did a plant food. Cause the rejection of Rastafari in those days, we weren't employed. We couldn't get no work. The system wouldn't.
So we move toward self-reliance and
Yeah, so the
self-sufficiency.
only surviving for the Rastafari, we heal Rastafari, we reject from the society, was to turn to the land. Cause even when the I say, yeah, enough people not buy from dirty Rasta. Yeah, people will not even take money out of dirty Rasta hand. Rasta good have to give somebody else the money to give people when you buy. Rasta never to Rasta didn't to accept to go step in a one shop or one store. Him good get dirty water dash. So the Rasta man only survival was to turn to the food, the land, the jungles. You know? So most of you did have a kind of way they call now. A twofold kind of Rasta did rise. Because you did have some Rasta where comb them ear, comb them biceps, and look very groom. Like the emperor. Them did want look like the emperor. Because certain documents identify them looking like the Negroes. Then you did go have a set of Rasta go rising at the set period of time now we put on the ugly. The most uglier looks on the Kwame, which is the dreadlocks Natty Congo. So the dreadlocks Natty Congo now did a trad now looking ugly and the biceps grow the longy. You know? So they would look on the Kwame now look more acceptable. You know? But the self-reliance man them now within the Kwame now was from the North Gully region. The priest Brown, them did have a place where them call House of Potter. Them and
the Jamaica police was arguing were involved in the attack. Yeah?
The House of Potter was some brethren now was the Kwame them was also a part of the Ethiopian World Federation by constitution, where His Majesty set an effort to send once to Jamaica 1955, the 5th of September. Mamie Richardson, she was the one that come with the federation specifically to the races by directive from the emperor. So them brethren, they know when hold the constitution, they know and start to work from the House of Potter. So the House of Potter now
Right.
start build a creativeness there, economics now where it look like say it was more acceptable among society. Then now after the war, there was
Right.
one of the man I think one of the military one from the British Army where did fight with His Majesty. I can't remember his name right away, but one of them man there we did fighting at the back. I see him on document more time. Him name not in my head right now. Him did visit Jamaica and come Montego Bay and visit the brethren them and North Gully, you know. And give them must say £400 within them time there. And that bring them to a level now where the brethren them utilize them fund now and buy bus. And they run van now as taxi. Them did have engine boat. Them and they did have truck. Them did have do kaya mattress. Pan Barnett Street, fishing boat at River Bay, and them man they were very economic structure, but them are went Kwame. So within the dreadlock Rasta them touch the scene now. It look like it create one disturbance with dreadlock Rasta and Kwame Rasta. So it look when I youth and rise up, the Kwame Rasta them when we go amongst them, then say, Selassie no look so. On a Absalom. Cause Absalom went hang by in here in a tree and them thing there. And then the dreadlock Rasta now would and say, Bun razor, scissors and comb, Father, Son and Holy Ghost, Ayanaya ancient. So one tag and war we did there. But we as youth now come see the tag and war. The I see.
Right. So there with this thing now, what you find is that it, for the ones them kind of move away now from the land in terms of expansion now of what them can use to survive, to whether it's operating a vehicle to make them money that we are do a little fishing.
Yeah, so
it
I did that say now the comb
Side?
now was more acceptable around the society. And them was very creative. But the dreadlocks ugly man them now have to take the bush. So the
Yes,
fight
sir.
turn on the dreadlocks ugly man them now.
So what the idea that say now, Yaga?
So the police was involved in the massacre and involved in the incident within that time. What was the nature of the violence and the brutality faced by Rastafari during that period? What was it like?
You see through the Coral Garden incident where the eye block off now. Them brethren, there one brethren named Rudolph Franklin. He was actually the person where them did target. He was very strong. At them time the man usually lift weight to, and put on chest. So him did a do whole heap of cultivation from the land of Coral Garden, which was a kind of connection from him parents, which did have a way where them for seed from the land and him as a youth now take on the work. And them never like what they want. So the people them out there now, the backra them and then when they call in the police, cause them and they usually burn fire coal. And them see the smoke come out of the hills and them realize that them and they burn them coal and come a road, come sell them fire coal. And them plant them vineyard now and come a road and people they support them in the ghetto area now. Society no want to see them one day, but the ghetto area like Canterbury, King Street, them people they buy from them and them usually sell at a place name. The place they name what? Love Lane. There is no Love Lane, Dada. Rather, Sunlight Bakery. It was a marketing area there, so where the South Spring people them come down. Yeah. And the brethren them know when knowing by the South Spring people them, one in a South Spring usually washing clothes and go down and vineyard and the poor people them get them food and them begin to love brother man. Cause them time they and I as youth people call me brother man, Them say one love brother man, cause when the doctrine that when you see no one, you say one love, peace and love, my brother. So love was the doctrine of the Rasta them time there. You know? So basically now them
Mm-hmm.
go in pan them one they know and destroy them vineyard. Cause we have a police report, you know. Where the policeman now even leave the force, him write a book to. I have a little article with him where him a explain now, say him himself did make an agreement with the police, say don't chop down the man things, him go into the country and see the man have some farming. The policeman say when him look and see cane and banana and vegetation, gungo, peas, bean, pretty farming, and him see the police them going and chop it down. Him say him even bad in himself. And him say, no man. But true them say them get order, so the man a trespass from Bakramasa land. Yeah, I see it. Him say, let the man reap in things them, then him can vacate, but don't destroy him things. And them violate. And the man plant again, and him them go back there now and see the brethren now. And him get shot. Them shot the brethren now. And frame him for ganja. Say him a plant ganja. Cause possibility are anyway Rasta them could have him 2 root of herbs, you know? So we would not deny say him did not plant herbs. So they shot when him get there now and charge. Them throw him in at the hospital now, say them fi dump him saying dead. But the doctor said, no, the man not dead and me not dump him. A faithful doctor and patch him up. And this so now him get about 3 months in the prison. And then now him patch up and them tell him say, you know say, after you come out and you smell your mouth or something like that, him would know say him have a short time to live. Him a go dead. Naturally, it's a moment patch up to survive. So him decide say him a go take revenge. So you did have whole heap of a man now we get beat up and brutalized from police, ganja man a get beaten till them piss blood and them thing there. So them join with him. So you did have about 5 brethren with him, you know. Them agree so them go deal with some guy case, you know. So this so them want to join up and set up them weaponry. Them build spear from steel, small half-inch steel and sharpen them at a place them send name PWD Public Works according to them intelligent. Cause I meet one of the brethren where did lock up say him build the spear. Cause I did a go around with the public defender in our time, you know, and them thing they come up. So based upon it now, them man they build double up the goat skin them and build all them bulletproof vests. And the brethren when him Franklin now him have a whip and a hatchet as him weapon. And the rest of man them arm with them lass and him arm up with him bone and arrow. Cause them time they know the gun thing never saw, you know. And we usually watch movie and see the Indian thing how it goes. So them time they did have car elastic, where we call it right through elastic. We as youth usually make catapult. So them man and we usually make bone and arrow to and pull out all the people them foul feather tail and tie it around the top there so and get some cane arrow from Barnet and put a nail up at the front there so and build we own a bone arrow and we sling like David too. So them thing there was a creative thing where we say. So them brethren they build them bone and arrow and them thing and them decide to deal with the thing. So them burn down a gas station out there now and go in a one hotel and deal with a white guy and a woman case and chop up who fi chop up and murder who fi murder and burn down who fi burn down and that's so it begins about from the
The
it
thing kick
begins
off
So,
from
so
from
let me
the
right
ask
top.
there.
you, let me ask you
The
a
beginning
question.
they go on about it from in the
This
week
is the
earlier
Wednesday.
and them
So let me ask you a question for you. This group of ones what you talk of, right? Were they a part of the
well,
Rastafari community?
in a them days, I and I who no did know what go on we do what you call it name now. We do some interview with enough one now to find out who did know them one day. So Ones and Ones was a part of the Rastafari movement, but enough one of them one said Rudolph wasn't a Rasta. So it would have come from an aspect where dreadlocks man, we all look on you no have no locks and say you no Rasta, you know. But the eye a Rasta.
Side.
Cause the eye carry the eye say.
Oh,
The
seeing.
eye see it enough man when one cover up like the man and no Rasta. But when I deal with a brethren when I'm personally chat, him say them man they are Rasta because of the concept of them
Okay.
belief.
See,
And the
all
one
right.
them around him was Rasta too. Yeah.
All right, but this is the actions of this group of people. It's not a collective action of the Rastafari
Well,
community.
the Rastafari community now, they pull away from them kind of action there. Cause in a I and I interview now with many one now, them say, in a them time that you did have what you call name Rasta camps. So you did have a Rasta camp at Glendevon, you have a Rasta camp at Granville, you have a Rasta camp at CLM, and you have the Rasta camp at North Gully. Yeah, I see it railway lane. So basically, one of them go through and chant groundation. Panicate jump within these and have them own a reasoning. Yeah, I see it. So when the brethren them did a look help now from the Rastafari community now, the Rasta said them remain non-violent. Them not took no part in a them thing there, cause even one of the first dreadlock Rastaman from Mobile did call Calimore, you know. One red Rastaman, you know. So them man they say, oh, you see the camp out of Coral Garden. It involve all many in the talk. One brother now when one come now. I can't remember his name right at Anya now. Him did a work with Captain Madinho, which was a British guy, white guy out there. And he was a decently dressed, comely, bearded man, Rasta, nice afro here with the biceps and wear sandals. Them time they to identify the Rasta man, him not to wear boot or sandals him wear. You know, kind of treat it like the Christ man according to them concepts. But them man, they weren't properly dressed. So the dreadlock Rasta now, Calimore and them man, they say them man, they are men. Because them a move amongst men. You know, so they never support out there. So, but Rudolph was the jungle bushman. So them say they not support nothing we go on a Coral Garden because a men have access round a them land area there. So man take other mountains, you know. So the vibration, you know, and no for the elders them sure, you know, call me Rasta brethren. When them man they one of the first Rasta in a Mobica, them man they rise in the 30s, you know. Late 38 I come to 40. Them man they rise, you know, when the concept of only the year about Owell, but yeah man when rise from in the 30s. And them man they say them usually link with Owell too. And give Owell doctrine and gospel to, and them usually preach in a Kingston to downtown with them factory and all of them thing there. You know? So them man they never link with the Coral Garden. So that's why I assure the I know.
What the brethren name? What the brethren name? What the
Rudolph Franklin was the man out there. But the ancient them know.
No, the brethren what they say used to link with
In
Oral Rise as the
name
first,
brother
Vin.
Vincent. Yeah, him come from End.
Okay.
You see for the brethren they know when name Omar. Omar grandfather.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we use
Side.
them man they usually.
All right.
Yeah.
So Rasta Ige, after the whole incident with Rudolph and the burning down of the gas station.
That is it now where the 2-4 come in now. The Coral Garden incident was crashed by the police and then capture man by the Thursday. See? And seal up by the Friday. And the Prime Minister come in now. But here what did happen to? Rudolph did deal with two police boys. Some police did dead in the incident. You have a one named Melbourne. He was one of the man where they shot the brethren. So the brethren caught him with a whip. Him have him whip like Zorro. You know the Zorro whip there. And him flash him whip and hold him and pull him in and take out him hatchet and throw him a ground and put him in a pieces. He mince him up, you know. The foot in about three piece, and the body and the head and the hand. So him deal with it, you know. So when the Prime Minister saw that, him cry, you know. And then now you did have another man named Scott. He was the inspector. Those days now you never put gunshot in a gun and give police. You give them empty gun and the inspector hold the shot. So when the man them attack now, them point the rifle on them for ease. And one of the youth that jump here and go pull the trigger. And knock now come out. And the man them aware say, oh, the gun empty. And them see the inspector in the jeep now. So when them a rush to him now, one of the arrow reach him through the windshield and stick him in the seat. And them take off him revolver. You know, and then deal with the man them. So them police they now have to run now from Coral Garden to come and Mobile. Them have to take foot in a hand to run. So that was an embarrassment. And I figure say them didn't even tell you how much police they you know. Them kind of hide it. Them want to tell you about too. You know. So based upon it now.
But you know what I really want to really identify out of this reasoning still is that the
No,
actions
better
of these
seal up.
ones
Dada, better seal up with
was
the brethren and say no, what was the action after
yeah.
the thing they go on.
Mhm.
So after that now within the death of the police officers them now, the Prime Minister come in, you know. But it wasn't the Prime Minister alone. The CIA was here. The head of the intelligence, what them call it, the Scotland Yard was here.
MI5, MI6,
Yeah,
Scotland
a
Yard.
portion of them was here, you know. Cause I was on I and I from even when we did a black boat, the fact finding and it did cut off that. So the fact finding documents
Mission.
now if we free up I and
Sorry.
I to the emperor now, which was sabotaged by the crown. So the crown and the CIA did involve in the whole movements. Cause it was the Rastafari, His Majesty identified as the Jamaicans that show love to us when we were in our pain and sorrow, which was the Italian invasion. So him say, I and I, if you come home now, can lead Ethiopia scientific farming program, music and arts, and healing and all of the thing them. And we will get a Muggle city design and citizenship. So them decide to sabotage that. And then, so they move Buster from the premier, you know, and put Norman and put Buster. Cause when the Coral Garden, the brethren them will make the first mission, make a second mission to Buster. And say, since your problem are Mobile, send we home, but we go deal with the emperor. If you take us out of Jamaica, because we have a problem with I. And him say, I wouldn't give you no bread cent, you know, but you know, get me bread blessing to go. The brethren, them have to put on them own a program, earn them money, and the whole heap of journey, them left out in April. That's why we see April as Rastafari month, because of the significant and important it took place. And them reach, and them go through, America, Tanzania, up to Cassius Clay when Muhammad Ali help and I give him money, Jomo Kenyatta, and we reach Ethiopia. So when you look on the whole situation now, you realize the Majesty give us a constitution before Jamaica independent, you know. And this, you know, him invite them now a Buckingham Palace and give them the ordering council, where them call constitution. It was the ordering council from the Queen. And give independent, and 8 months after, then say massacre the Rasta and create a thing and switch the whole diversion and hide the documents now where we are and if you move up and ban the move there.
Right. So that's why I want to really identify through the reasoning that these ones, it wasn't a collective decision of the movement of Rastafari to have this
No, the Rasta
action,
them,
but it was
the
the
Rasta
action
them
of these
remain
ones.
non-violent. If you read the book, you know, from
Rasta.
Babylon to Rasta, you know, the brethren Douglas Mac them who went up on the mission visit Buster and say, Buster, what is happening in Montego Bay? Him say, I know that the Rastafari family remain peaceful, but we have a problem. Him say, they know your prime minister sit down and know the man them remain peaceful and that they happen to them. Let us carry out an investigation from you to know to protect your citizens. Him say, you're free to go, but anything happen to you, it is on your shoulder. And the brethren take it up on himself and come Mobile, visit the camp and make a report back to the Prime Minister. And say the Rasta brethren them remain peaceful. So stop the violence. So dear son, now I see it's Mantica Bay, Orange Gully, North Gully, the slum, the ghetto, the swine lane, when becomes one of the most organized economic Rastafari movements in Jamaica after them destroy Pinnacle. See the whole thing there. See it there now. And under the compensation.
See, yeah.
Oh, so the reason is then that this was a follow-up to the Pinnacle. Cause
Pinnacle.
them couldn't afford for
Yes,
them destroy Pinnacle now. And then in a Mobile now, the same
yes.
thing will come up
And
again.
I take
So them have
place.
to do
then
it
now they
again.
did
And,
have
Yeah.
a
okay.
mission. The first mission where took place, not to mention in the history of Rasta, did call Magna by Priest Brown and two other brethren through Francis Jarrett, the Custas of Montego Bay. We have a visit to them at an island near Magna to deal upon the Rasta situation and landed allotted by Jarrett to the Rasta community. And so Glendevon and Rosite was given and Fairfield out of Barnett State was allotted to Rasta to develop them community because the man them were very creative. Them a fishing boat, them a build
Side.
furniture, them a build kaya mattress, them a build pottery, them a do whole heap of works. So when the land was set now and the brethren go back now and come forward now and the brethren them now invite Jarrett now to the podium in Sam Sharp Square. And there them usually keep them meeting. And him come on the podium and say, no, I know no a brethren. You know, see it, and we willing to work together and build a new Jamaica. So the dreadlock Rasta them now say, fireburn creation, no, you know, in a no friendship with no white boy, oh, we and white boy for friend. And that's so in the Europe now, the whole thing again now, and say the brethren will go there so now, sell out. Cause him a come and make a unity, which the brother them now when decide to build housing and home and make. Cause what did happen again in Rasta son? There was a war in Kenya, the Mama Rebellion in 1958, and 59 was the Cuban Revolution, and Jamaica was the closest, so things that draw from Africa straight sideway to the Caribbean, Jamaica and Cuba. So them send a brother now, which was in the Mama Rebellion army named Angela. He was in the British army at the time. Police to come at Jamaica now to take a keen observation on these Rasta movement. So him did make a statement say, these Rasta them were in the street a preach and these man them look like some man when me left for Kenya, which the Mama Rebellion. So
Yes,
him
I.
say, you have to trample this movement according to how them a preach and a gather the people them. Them time they, when politics meeting in the street, nobody know their politics meeting if Rasta they preach. You did have strand theater them time there. Nobody know in the theater if Rasta they preach. Church empty. Sam Sharp Square packed with people listening to the Rasta doctrine of the biblical interpretation of the Christ who returned. So them say you
Side.
have to destroy the movements, cause if them tell the people them a morning say burn down the city, the people them will burn it down. So them they did under fear of the Rastafari doctrine where they gather the people them both from politics, from church, from school. Cause even Priest Brown did give a testimony say when them did hold him in the Coral Garden. A judge, when him for face the judge tell him, say, I usually stop by in my car and listen your doctrine privately, you know. And the doctrine would have convinced I and I now the heart of how the doctrine was coming across. There I see it. So it was the doctrine that them did fear. The doctrine did a move, you know. So upon them.
Yeah, because the doctrine is challenging, you know. Remember, the doctrine is challenging the system that
Established.
suppressed
The
and
status quo.
dehumanized black people at the time.
Yeah.
The Rastaman, the
You
Rastaman did say,
understand?
burn down colonialism. And I have a sovereign
One long
lord,
Babylon.
which is Ethiopia crowned head. And that was very,
And,
That's
and they
right.
rise against the
yeah.
king in a them time. They say, you know, a big
That
trouble, a
is
big
why
problem.
now, even in a Orwell
And the
time, him
truth.
couldn't rise the Lion of Judah flag, 'cause Jamaica was under colonization from the British. So when His Majesty give the constitution now, him put in the constitution that say, my people, black people, have a right to ice the Ethiopian sovereign flags wheresoever them they on earth in any colony. And him write it in the constitution and give it as a bylaw and register it in the USA, which is where the whole heads of government and the whole thing did a move. 'Cause the king did fight League of Nations and bring it to United Nations, you know, because the League of Nations was like a racist thing. So that is what the king did do. So even when the constitution touched Jamaica before Jamaica get independent, all things went have to campaign and hide by directive. Yeah, I see it. So it is a serious
That's right.
moment in the history and time
Mhm.
I and I know to open.
Yes, sir. So when we look at the whole Carl Gann situation now, we realize that it a come off of the situation with Pinnacle because it's a direct attack on the Rastafari movement and the potential of this movement to unify African people and to organize them towards a directive. So we see that, right? Now, what are things that have been done following this situation, this atrocity within the Rastafari movement, the Rastafari community, towards making sure that this is never forgotten, one, and highlighting the sacrifice of those people who suffered under this atrocity.
Give thanks. You see what happened presently as we are speaking now. The 18th of April will be the commemoration. If they I notice under the compensation, we did approach the government before this government come into power, you know, which was the woman when I lead, say she a
Right.
prime minister, you know. Never take into consideration from her government to deal with it. And you notice who come recognize it? The one them who did massacre us. So and you did
Yes,
have to
yes, sir.
carry
And
out
them supposed to
what
do
you
it.
call name a march of demonstration for them to recognize. And it's the same day when the march took place, him going to parliament and apologize under a sudden way. But
Apologize.
under the apology, they never deal with the letter they did present. But what you think happen again, too? Most of the ones them who went take up the administrative role to organize never go into a deep study within what did happen previously and the various movements and how to approach the government from an organized level, but then do a thing and was informed
Right.
by a legal representative of how to go about it, which I was one of the original founding fathers of the commemoration from an early stage with the brethren called Junior Manning, you know, Ister J. Most of the one them now we in don't even
Yes,
know
sir.
how it started and can give a full testimony, but they know how them reaching it. And eventually now it come in like say I was squeezed out because maybe I never look appropriate or have a college background, or maybe we could look on it that way, and others were selected to head the move.
You see, in the journey though, Rasage, in the journey though, I really works stand predominant. You see me? And you have to give thanks that I did manifest the work what I manifest, because if they never manifest the work in that Iowa, there would be no one to come do it in this Iowa. And we also have to look on the work and also the work don't sit with any one person, you know. This work rests with all the I and I. So sometimes the work have to pass on to our next one to manifest same way too. But it don't mean say the ones who manifest the work initially supposed to be forgotten or overlooked. Them supposed to still be honored and give thanks for the contribution what them give to the mission, because
Evening death,
it requires self-sacrifice.
evening death and shedding flesh should be seen
That
as a
is the
martyr.
importance. And I don't even want block certain
Yes, sir.
things from
Yes, sir. So we could just know, so we do the work and we just
yeah,
leave it
but
there so
you
far.
are going now.
Yeah.
I was
See?
called to
Yeah.
present myself at this program, and I was actually removed from the program to speak in previous commemoration, as if I went did it too much. So I don't know
Natural.
what kind of strategy that. So I did agree, say, yeah, the work have to go on. So you what, me carry on the work and better I watch and see what go on. And I see what go on. And the work reach
Naturally.
a stage now where apology make, a compensation supposed to make, and it was agreed upon and signed by a legal representative, and it looked like it never signed good or it never did put good and some money granted and one home and the whole thing, you still couldn't even see nothing. They stand it.
Right.
So
So
Rasta,
so
i.e. the compensation that the I talk about, which was 70,000 US dollars, I believe. What was that supposed to go towards? Like, how was that
A
compensation that they given, which I thought was a meager
trust
amount
fund.
anyways?
mhm.
You know, the amount was meager. What was that going to be
It was
used
a
for?
trust fund we did set up. And I discovered that the trust fund set up by the government, not the Rasta. And $112 million was put
Mhm.
into the trust fund. And it did not pay out one time to the victim that them did have recorded from the public defender's record. It was paid out like a some pension thing. Like every 2 months you get each one get a 200,000 or 100,000. So it look like
Okay.
when some interest and a
Thanks.
strategic move still undermining. When I tell them say each elder fi get at least 3 million in I on one time and give them a period of time, say 1 year
Mhm.
or a couple months who are alive, then you started to give them under the kind of pension scheme on you set up. And then now it coming
Support
like
that.
Right.
I when it look
Yeah,
like I
I
know
don't
when they step
understand.
on some can and I create something. So it look like I saw now I get squeezed out. And what if a little thing and thing go on where I would even speak up publicly you know. The
Not
compensation
sure.
don't look
Not
like
sure.
we get nothing. Cause I think 100 acres of land was asked for and then cut in at 2 and say 50. When they said the 100 could have split
Mhm.
50 or so and 50 they saw. Yeah, I see it, and I said to them, say, seeing that the Rasta man come on the scene and he went bun grave and coffin box and dead and church and state, and I see it. But now we see the nail, the hammer drive the nail, and we see one a drop flesh. Yeah, I see it. So, oh, we don't go look on that, cause you know when one dead, them says the wages of sin. Yeah, I see it. But when I and I look on
Mhm.
it, I and I say one start drop, and I went aware of that, cause I went have the responsibility to one of the first ancient where I say live the longest amongst Rastafari in our time, which a daughter when come from Farmite, you go to know him
Thanks.
name Lucille Wellington, we call him Nanny. So she died at
Thanks.
the age of 95 and him was so rejected from him own people them and him did have one son and the son died. So the woman they know did get a strokes and never have no one to take care of her nor no home. And she I did close and she live.
One son
Yeah.
track.
One of the IY I go send the eye them picture that up. I take on the initiative now as a Rasta youth now where they deal with the organization because I was a Ethiopian World Federation and we follow the constitution. That what more I know say you have to set up varied
Thanks.
committee, sick committee, education
Yeah, man,
committee.
hungry be
So we
fed,
did
sick be
use it now
nourished.
and come now amongst the
Yeah,
Naya
man.
Bingi with it. But most of the Naya Bingi now say a feather.
Mhm.
So the ancient them now we went round we set the Nyabingi and the older ancient them now, them burn the feather. So we did have a complication now amongst the races them now. So I have to take up very serious initiative now from the educational committee now to start it, to read and to educate the brethren them. So most of the one them now would call now the lesser join in with the federation where I and I run a mobile, which will revive the federation from not go to Charter
Side.
32 and name it Rastafari Charter. So under the revising
Side.
they now we have whole heap of youth. So we build some committee now, sick committee, and also now I as a herbalist now start move around and find any elder way unable. So when the elder they sick now Rastafari family. I as a man now have to take up when most of the one them no business with don't sick and a sin make you sick and all them things there. And the data there was a fiery data we burn out everything and who fi burn get burn. So I and I select 3 data now if you go look on the data there. And me I tell the eye them straight and the whole public. The daughter them did have some concept now when them go. The mama they say, I no lesbian, I no want no woman clean eye up and look about I. So they have to send for I as the man now. And I have to step in and do certain works, Rasta son. And I have to seat it up with them mama there and reason up with him to the fullest of fullness. And him call like little Samuel. Him say, when you hear the voice call you, you must say, speak, Lord, God, thy servant heareth. And him did see I and bless I up, and I carry on a work, and I get a daughter now and stay her home and start pay the daughter. I have to go out there, go look contribution from Rassis to pay the daughter weekly now to take care of her. That begin the process of I open up to careful now about the sick and dead business. And when the daughter dead again, it was another thing for Rasta again. So we did have one priest of the Orthodox Church, which was among the Federation now. We get him now to do the service, and we get the chapel at the dead place, and at this so now we put on the thing there. And it was a thing. And we pull out enough ones, and 1 and 2 one come out and support it. But at this so they know the nail strike the hammer, and I know say this dead thing, you know, we have to go take a different note of it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. And then so then
Naturally.
now we see say this
So,
thing
so
serious. And then now we see the Carol Garden come in and them do some good work and them reach a level. But the agreement never set good according to the intellect and the brains then, you know.
Right.
So
yeah.
it reach a closing
Right.
So
section you know where most of the elder them drop out fireborn. We could have about one now. Let me see.
Right.
We could have about 4 elder, 5 elder. And we set up
Who
we set
physically
up
go
a
through the
care
Carol
home out
Gardens?
of it. And the care home isn't into a Rastafari own land space. It is a lease land that costs $5 million for 5 years. And we furnish the structure. So the little 100 million disappear. And nothing cannot be shown. And no proper titles nor certification, but no land situation has been given. So possibility are them thing they would have to go disclose coming the 18th of this month. Because you know, election is in the year again,
Right.
where
So,
the present government has said maybe them would have move up.
again,
So
yeah.
them don't know what go on from there. So maybe things lock down. Yeah, I see it. But that is just a little synopsis
right.
I give the
So,
album, you know. Yeah, give them.
yeah.
Mhm.
So Rasta what do I think should happen now to honor, to keep on honor, keep these people in the memory of everybody, keep on honoring the victims of the atrocity, so they use them know
You know,
about these incidents,
say I
and
want,
everybody around the world know
say
the
I
thing.
want
But the I think should happen.
serious black, the eye are black, but the eye say what should happen, or we don't know if what could happen or what is happening. Cause when the eye check it out now, I can't even tell the eye what is happening, cause some ticklish sound a reach our ears. You know, but what I and I did is to get the people them pan a kind of a museum situation now, but where is the land space? So I want call I and say, if you come direct the museum, this I wire within this, cause I have certain museum document and them have it. So when I and I paste it up now, visitors come and look on these faces. But there are a lot of faces now when they on the museum. But what I did now, I what you call it now, intertwine the whole Rastafari tradition with the Coral
Journey.
Garden, what you call it, museum or gallery. Them call it a gallery. So I have some Ethiopian World Federation 1930s history from Malaku Behen, which was the vice of Ethiopia. I don't know if they are them aware of the newspaper there. The vice of
Yes,
Ethiopia.
I.
Cause remember say
The voice of
Malaku
Ethiopia.
Behen now and Marcus Garvey were in a battle, you know, within the 30s, you know. So you did have the vice of the black man and you have the vice of Ethiopia. Cause the vice of the black man, yes,
That's in England.
and the US,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Malaku was sent to the US as the emissary to set up the federation because the funding that did not sent in to support the Italian war did a miss up. So once visit the emperor at Bath and say, boy, money a miss up, you know, and we are give things to support the emperor and he now come. So in empower Malaku Behen now to go set the federation to deal with the area there. And then now, if they are going a certain documents now, you know, say the Honorable Prophet Marcus Mosiah Garvey did a lick against the emperor. Him put out some serious articles and him followers did a say a wagwan in a Marcus said him look like him get mental disturbed. Kind did a block some serious block in a Rasta son. That when I show one them article, them I say, what? That's why you find said some Rasta today no one hear about what Garvey again. You know, see it because of what them come unfold while another say, don't enter in a big people's affair, you know. We don't know say him do him thing and do him thing. And you find say new information have come out now. Whole heap of new information. Cause one did I say a Garvey did prophesy. And then one a come and say, no, I when one another man prophesy and tell him man I when hacking and hack and whole heap of thing. You know, so that's why
The eye blocking some
eh?
songs in Rasta. The eye blocking some songs. Everything the eye touching on right now. I rate in the last
Couple of
14
chant
days.
class.
Yeah,
Yes, I.
Yes,
yeah.
everything the eye touching on right now, the eye blocking song is song power. Right
Yeah,
now,
right.
everything the eye touching
It
on
open
is
it,
song
it
power. Just vibration,
yeah, it turn
universal
the key, you know.
vibration.
That's why I say I'm on in a this
Yeah.
present Iwaya Rastafari sons. I step up to a higher steers within this Libya, you know. I don't know, play a liver journey right now, you know. And the Almighty Creator they speak.
Yes,
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, cause everything
Royal.
just written up on the tablestone of the heart and established through the mind, you know. Yeah, cause we live it and we testify of it and we bear record of it, you know. Yeah. We bear record of the
Fire.
truth. Cause I never fly upon a
Yes, I.
iron bird yet, you know. And I never ride upon a boat go nowhere. Yeah, I see it. And I see many go out there and talk. But I just humble and just observe. But when it come to high time for talk, maybe that's why enough
Side.
one want.
Rasaige, what is your message to the youth and the global audience about events, historical events like Floral Gardens and the Rastafari culture?
Well, that is why I man seat up in the cosmid say I and I fi declare April as Rastafari month. So we could have a gigantic move within the Rastafari community to gather them on a sensitive issues such as the fact-finding mission, the
Side.
documentation of the High Majesty, the intellectual property rights, the music, the colors, the art, we see the land rights, the sovereign rights of a people. You know, your message, I may I tell you, is a titanic bomb through the word sound to the youth them. So right you know when I say Rastafari month starting from the 1st of April, is a fasting and meditation day. The second Zwadi II died, which was preserving the throne for the divine man, the child which didn't reach the age to sit. So the empress ruled, and he was crowned with the empress as regent plenipotentiary here, running on business, and he may have to go crown 28th, 7th of October as king to carry on the business. So even the 3rd of April now was the day that the emperor was elected as emperor to the throne, you know. And he postponed it to the 2nd of November for coordinate and organize and send out the invitation to make it be who him is, because he know who him is. Yeah, I see it. So we look on it then now and
Sure.
say April to deal with it, you know, because enough Rastaman don't know the history of the divine man yet from his own autobiography.
Side.
My Life on Ethiopian Progress, Part 1 and Part 2. That is the book. And the selected speech of the High Majesty,
Yes,
compiled Bible that you know. So I call it the autobiography, the Old Testament, Part 1 and Part 2. And I call the selected speech the New Testament. And when you read them and go in at them, my Lord, honorable, now tell the I say, the I cup run over. It's well filled. It's well filled.
Glorious,
The High
man.
Majesty give it in a brethren. And when I read it and block it to enough Rasta, them say, Rasta, you sound like you're not even the yield the High Majesty as the Almighty One. I say, read the prayer, the preface of My Life on Ethiopia Progress by the Divine Majesty. You have to go rock up in the eye self and sit down good if the eye sit down for a chair and all that stuff. So, because His Majesty in the preface said, many write the story of my life, presenting to be truth, but in fact derived from ignorance, error, and envy. But the truth is like A house that built up on granite rock. Not even the gushing wind and terrain will be able to pull down the truth from its place. So therefore, I, the emperor, desire to write the story of my life, presenting to be truth. I mean, I exaggerate myself. And before I write, I set out to say this prayer to the Almighty, my Creator. So we have to go examine that, Who is without descent? And not come through no birth record, nor no womb. Yeah, I see it. And him, when him black that the prayer there, they have to rock up good now and say, it's not what we say about the emperor, It is good, but it's what the emperor said about himself. So we have to go high for our stand that now. And that's at the angle now where they cause the problem and the emperor shifts the scene now. And many can't even talk. What happened? So that is a constant debate. I in on many groups with races over the world now, and this so I realize we not sit down good yet.
Natural.
We not sit down good yet.
Well, here we have to go on now, Rasa Agi.
Yeah, we're going to set up our next
Here we have to
reasoning.
go on now, Rasa Agi. What we have to do, we have to set up our next episode where we can go into some other fullness within the Rastafari motion, because really we want to focus this one upon the Coral Garden situation because it is within the time, within the
Yeah.
Iowa, your side. So we want to thank you, all our viewers and everyone, for tuning into this powerful episode of the Perfect Balance Chat Class. And Rasagi, you've taught us so much about the history, occurrence, and happenings of the Coral Gardens atrocity, Bad Friday, and the ongoing fight for justice within the Rastafari movement. If you found today's conversation and reasoning impactful, make sure to subscribe, share the Strat class with your friends, and leave a review to help spread awareness. Join us next time as we continue to explore to help spread awareness. And look into other stories that matter and inspire action. Remember, history is not just about the past, but about how we carry it forward. Until next time, stay grounded, stay true, and live up. Yes, sir. Give thanks.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Give
Yeah,
thanks.
the words of the
Rastafari.
mouth and the
Acting,
meditation
man.
acceptable in the
Yes,
heights
sir.
of the
Bless.
Almighty. Our strength and our Redeemer, who live it and reign for ever and ever. World without end. Kadamavi,
Celestia.
first
True.
power of the Holy Trinity.
And I said the perfect balance, Chad class. I don't know, say a Chuck Fender, the living for this represents. Good over evil, me tell them, see a life over death. I swear, said I will never switch. Keep the fire burning hot. Holy Emmanuel, I Celestia, Jah, blazing fire.